Today we are building a storage unit, ideal for kids storage or garage storage. The materials needed, I'm making use of 2 sheets of 18mm Shutterply, which will make 3 of these tiers, and that's going to be my stacking storage unit. I'm using a pack of 30mm wood screws, wood ock gel stain, wood filler, wood sealant and wood glue. The tools you'll need are a cordless drill, a speed pilot drill bit, a sander, some clamps, a tape measure, a pencil, a paintbrush, a sponge, and I'm also making use of a miter saw. Now let's get started. Now I make use of the guys at Builders as they will cut all the timber for you to your cutting list. Give them your cutting list, you can even email it to them. They'll cut it all to size for you. They'll only do square and straight cuts, and then that can fit into your car. You can take it home easily and start with your DIY. All that's left to do is just the assembly part. Now as you can see on this DIY, I've got 2 angled cuts that I need to do. One on the top surface, which is at 15 degrees, and then the bottom cut, which is at 40 degrees. I'm going to make use of my miter saw because I can set it to those exact angles and get a clean cut with that. You can also make use of a jigsaw if need be. You'll see on the inner ones they are slightly shorter than the outer edge. I'm just going to trim it back to a shorter distance, but I'm still going to be cutting them at the same angles. That way it's going to match up perfectly with my front panel. Right, my outer pieces I need to mark out 285mm on the top and 285 on the bottom. Then I'm going to cut it off at 15 degrees and 40 degrees. Likewise for the inner panels, I'm going to mark that out to 263mm. I've already worked out the exact measurements and angles that I need. If you just follow these dimensions, you'll be fine. Okay, those are the panels cut. Now I'm going to start assembling the box. Now I'm going to be screwing it together. I'm using an 18mm thick piece of material. So I'm going to make a mark all the way along the outside edges where my screws are. And in that center position is where I'm going to put the screw pilots. I'm making use of a speed pilot, which has got a clearance drill bit as well as a countersink built into it. So therefore I'm actually doing 2 jobs with 1 action. Here's my base plate. I'm going to make use of the thickness of the timber to ensure that I get it in the right place for the screw holes. Okay, so I'm going to wind that all the way across, and that gives me the thickness of the timber. I know I need to screw in the middle. So offset from the side, a couple of screw holes, and that's simple. I'm going to carry on doing for the other ones. I'm also going to mark where the center panels need to be. I'm going to be working 370mm from the outer edge towards the inside. That'll be my 1 panel, and then 370 from that outer edge to the inside, and that'll be my 2nd panel. Exactly the same action for the top panel as well. Remember, when you are drilling into a piece of timber, always make sure there is a backing piece underneath, which is your sacrificial piece to stop you from drilling into your table. Having a solid surface underneath also stops that breakout of that drill bit on the underside, damaging the timber. You'll see the speed pilot goes all the way down into the timber and allowing that clearance and that countersink for the screw head to sit below the surface of the timber. When marking the back section, you're going to do the exact same thing. Use a piece of timber to mark out the thickness all the way around the full perimeter of the backboard, and then drill your holes accordingly. Most of my holes have all been drilled and countersunk with the speed pilot. Now comes the fun part of actually assembling it. However, it's going to get a little bit tricky trying to balance all these shelves in the middle and get them into position without everything falling down. So just follow these simple steps and it should be a little bit easier for you. Let's move this out the way. We'll bring in the base piece. Now make sure you've got the countersink on the underside. That's going to be by my base. And here's my outside panels, which are marked. They're going on the outer edges. And I've got the inside as well. So what I am going to do is I just move that like that. And now this creates a stable platform for me to balance my top onto the top of that. And that will then allow me to put each outside piece in and hold it into position without it all falling down. If you're not sure what I mean, so now I need to start putting in my outside pieces so I can hold them into position. Remember, I do need to put wood glue in between that mating surface. I'll line it up, Then I can make use of a clamp to actually clamp it down tight and do the exact same thing on the outer side. Then I've got a strong, rigid structure. I can move the centers out and get them into position. Okay, we're halfway there. I'm going to flip this over and do the exact same thing with the other panel. Remember, don't forget the wood glue in between the mating surfaces. Then I'm going to roll it over and do the back panel too. The back section is on and secure. I just have the front panel to do, which is the last piece. I'll flip that over. And I like to leave this to the end just to make sure everything is lining up correctly. If not, I can correct it there and then. So front panel goes in. I'm going to put 2 holes on the end, 2 holes here, here, and on the side again. There you have it. Our structure is complete. The first one of these tiers is done. All you need to do now is to fill the visible holes, let that dry, and then give it a good sand down to remove any sharp edges, any burrs, and also level out any edges which have a little bit of misalignment. Once that's complete, you can then start with staining it and sealing the timber. Once you've finished staining up the cabinet, it's now time to seal it. You must seal it to prevent all the dirt and stains from getting onto the timber surface. I always like to use a wood sealer, which is normally suited for floor use, as it has a much harder wearing characteristic, and considering I'm going to be using this particular one for a kid's toy storage, it's going to take a lot of bumps and knocks. So I'm going to save a bit of time. I've made some units up already. Let's go and put them into place and see what it looks like. Now, if you like this DIY and you found it useful, like it, share it. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have a range of DIYs and product focus to hopefully suit your needs.